Today's lesson, I want to talk to you about how to win the day. How to win the day. Now, this comes from my own personal struggle. I've shared here more times than I can count. And my fellow creatives may understand what I'm feeling here is many times, more often than not, at the end of the day, I don't feel like I've won. And it can be for a number of reasons. I definitely never feel like I've won if I've given into procrastination, if I've given into the resistance, if I didn't get what I said I wanted to get done. But many times it's unrealistic what I wanted to get done. I make a to-do list that's longer than what I can actually get done. And I've experimented with different things, as you know. I try to keep a done list instead of a to-do list and look at that at the end of the day and actually celebrate your accomplishments. I don't always remember to do this, but the times I do, it definitely makes a difference. But I found another little psychology tip that's been working really well for me, and I wanted to share it with you all as well. I've always been sort of an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm either all in or I'm all out. I can't be like halfway. Almost everything I do, I've either got to go all the way and do it the best I possibly can, or I just can't do it at all. And this has its pros and cons. For instance, my son, who's in second grade, he's been doing basketball for a couple years, and my wife keeps urging me to, you should sign up to be the coach. You should sign up to be the coach. And I go back and forth because I'm like, well, I think, he needs to wait to be a little bit older. The kids need to understand a little bit more, because I know that I can't just volunteer and just coach halfway. Like, if I'm going to volunteer to coach, then I'm all in, right? I'm studying the plays. I'm looking up YouTube videos, trying to find new ways to educate the kids, help them get it. I'm looking up drills. Like, that's just the kind of person I am. And so I'm usually the same way with my days. It's either I'm all in and I won the day, and if I made one or two little mistakes, that's it. I lost the day. I will go to bed feeling, feeling down, feeling sometimes a little depressed, feeling like I'm beating myself up. And we all know that's not where we want to be. And so I kind of just broke it down. You know the famous drill, break it down, right? If you've got a big project, what do? We break it down into bite-sized pieces. Why can't we do the same thing with our day? So let me illustrate with a couple graphics here. This is what I'm talking about. The whole idea here is picture your day in 4 different chunks. Break it down. 4 different phases, 4 different time frames, to be more specific, is what I like to do. I like to think through and have one section be in the morning, one section be midday, another section be the afternoon, and another section be the evening. So then when you look at your day, let's just take one particular quadrant out of the day. Let's take the morning, for example. And this can be whatever it is for you. Everybody's got different schedules. Designate a morning slot. Maybe that's between the hours for you of like 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. Whatever it is. Maybe it's only an hour for you. Maybe it's 2 hours. But I'll leave that up to you. And then let's just say you took just one part of that day, the morning, and you ask the question, how can I win the morning? Just the morning. You're not even asking, how can I win the day? You're asking, how can I win the morning? What kind of tasks would be involved for you to win the morning? I like to think in 3s. So just list 3 things that you can do that you know personally, and this is going to be very personal, that would feel like a win for you. Maybe it's task related, but maybe it's not even task related. Maybe one of your categories is that you just simply followed your task list. And that's a big one for me, is I'll write a big list of things to do, and then I don't even follow it. And sometimes instead, I'll just go wherever I'm pushed, or I'll go to put out the fire instead of sticking to my pre-planned list. So sometimes for me, just winning the morning is just sticking to my list. Sometimes it's just a matter of not getting distracted. So a focused, let's say 90 minutes, maybe that would be part of winning the morning. And you have to experiment with this, because you know, and you can't lie to yourself here. Don't lie to yourself and say, oh, if I finish this task, then it'll feel like a win. And you finish that task, but some other things happen, and then it doesn't feel like a win. So this is more emotional than logical. You need to know emotionally what feels like a win for you and list those. You're not going to have to share this with the class or anything like that. This is just for you. So you may as well be honest here. All right. So list those things just in that quadrant. That's all you're doing there. The reason I love this is because let's say you screwed up. on just one of the quadrants. Well, the only goal here is just simply to win more than you lose. Let's say you're midday, you blew it. You had planned certain tasks, certain activities. You had planned certain things that you knew were going to equal a win for the midday, and you didn't do those things. And you lost. You lost the midday. That's okay. You could still get back on track. You could still win the afternoon and you can still win the evening. Maybe you screwed up the morning. That's all right. You still got midday, afternoon, and evening. And the whole goal, the whole game of it, I like to gamify things, is at the end of the day, just win more quadrants than you lose. Then, even though you lose parts of the day, you don't lose the day. And you can still go to bed at night. You can rest your head on the pillow peacefully and say, you know what? I won. I won the day. You won't beat yourself up. Maybe take notes on the quadrant that didn't go so well. Do a little journaling, do a little writing, do a little thinking and brainstorming about how can I win that quadrant next time. And I think being more strategic about breaking down your day, you can be more focused. So for instance, my evening wins are going to be much different than my morning wins. My evening wins probably consist more of, did I spend quality time with my kids? You know, did I lift them up? Did I encourage my family? Did I make my wife feel loved? Those kind of things are how I can just win the evening. And even if I blew the rest of the quadrants, I can still win the evening one. So you'll know if this is for you. You'll know if you find this helpful. There's another quote that I wanted to reference here. A stumble may prevent a fall. Think about that. He that stumbles and does not quite fall gains a step. A stumble may prevent a fall. He that stumbles and does not quite fall gains a step. I love that because many times I would consider a stumble, I would consider it a fall, but it's not. It doesn't have to be. Stumbles can be good. Just like maybe stumbling through one of the quadrants here, stumbling through that midday, you know what? It might prevent you from stumbling the next day because as you go back and you rehearse and you see what could I have done better, it might prevent a fall. It also might prevent you from falling the rest of the day because, you know, you broke it down and you can reevaluate. So don't be so hard on yourself. If you're that kind of person that is hard on yourself over almost everything like I am. And if you are hard on yourself, try this strategy. Try breaking it down, giving yourself more opportunities to win and breaking down your losses. Gamify it if it helps you like it does me and track it. That's another thing that I've found that I really can improve on these things is if I actually track it. Whether you just take out a piece of paper and just sketch it out, maybe draw this little quadrant. Just draw 4 halves, or maybe your day is just split into 3, whatever it is. Draw it out. Write out your 3 things it would be a win if you did them. Just a practical tip, something to experiment with. Who knows, maybe it just might give you that tiny little psychological edge that you need. Because I've found the difference between, gosh, you start beating yourself up, you go down that path, you start rehearsing and saying negative things, you break that trust with your subconscious. You're like, I had planned to do those things, I didn't do those things, therefore I am a kind of person that doesn't follow through. Versus, hey, I said I was going to do those things, it's okay. You know, I lost the midday, maybe it was because I had too big of a lunch, and therefore I felt fatigued. I was tired. Maybe it was I had a bad phone call and it threw me off. That's okay. You give yourself grace. You give yourself mercy. You don't start going through the negative thought patterns and telling yourself a story that isn't true, and you quickly get back on track instead of it letting it derail the entire day and night, which has happened to me more times than I could count. I have one bad phone call, the rest of the day's shot. Therefore, you know, I screw up the afternoon and I screw up the evening as well. Going to bed feeling like a complete failure and demotivated. Not excited to wake up the next day and start over again because, hey, I was just in a fight. I beat myself up and it's just not productive. So this has been huge for me. Hopefully it helps you. Thank you all for being here again. As always, work together in the trenches, shoulder to shoulder. Big Unchained Rider group hug. Virtual high fives all around. Don't forget, give yourself that well-deserved credit. No matter how small it is, you showed up. You beat the resistance. You broke the chains today. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Look forward to being back with you next week. And until then, as always, I'll be cheering for you.